was asked recently how I got into all my holistic modalities, my Reiki, my therapeutic sound, essential oils, meditation, life coaching, dream analysis. And while I've had a lifelong interest, curiosity about so many things and always wanting to help others, probably a huge factor has been my own journey through healing from stress-induced illnesses. The first one back in the 90s was ulcerative colitis. I had a very stressful job, very, very, very stressful job. So, that's about the emotional component there is about control or lack thereof. And at first, the doctor thought it was food poisoning. But then after spending some quality time with a gastroenterologist, it was confirmed that it was ulcerative colitis. I spent about 10 months dealing with that, and there were no fancy medications back then like you see advertised right now. But I just say that as encouragement that, I was able to heal from that, in about 10 months. It took me about 10 months. And that is why I laugh so much today. I had to do my research old school. And you couldn't just, open up your phone and do a search real quick. So, when you're under a lot of stress and your body's producing the stress hormones and just, your body's just not, and you're not taking care of yourself either because you're putting something else ahead of your own needs. And, once you get a hold of how you sabotage yourself, and then learn a bit about the things that you can do to offset that. Laughter is one of those things. You release the hormones then that offset the stress hormones. So that's why I laugh so much. Okay, and let's see. The next illness a few years later was an actual ulcer and acid reflux. And it took a while to diagnose the ulcer because the pain was in a strange place. I was kind of feeling it in my back a little bit and some like swelling or I felt like I was swelling. I would, that the week leading up to, the epiphany that it was an ulcer, I was really craving spicy food. I have no idea why, because I'm not a spicy food person. And so that probably did not help. Okay. I dealt with that for a little while. I carried around a bottle of Mylanta for a long time. I had to stay away from certain foods. And but I eventually got over that. Probably not even a year, and it's only been, I haven't had any pain for a long time. A few years later, when several things happened at the same time within a short period of time, I would feel that pain, but at least I knew what it was and I knew how to counteract it. And then back around, I want to say it was around 2011, I was dealing with my thyroid underfunctioning. I tested positive for Hashimoto's, and then my adrenals were stuck in high gear. Again, very stressful work that I was doing. And I took the holistic route that time, and it was tough. I'm not going to lie. It was tough. And I worked with a holistic chiropractor, and we did a lot of detoxification. The hardest thing that I did, I had to go on this diet for about 60 days. It was referred to as a repair diet. I took a lot of supplements, which I don't like to take any kind of pill. I hate swallowing pills. But it forced me to drink a lot more water. And so that was a good part. And on that diet, there were so many foods I could not eat that I was in tears every day for 2 months, because I had to slow down and go to the grocery store after work and pick out fresh food and go home and cook. And I had to learn how to cook. I was used to being on the run, on the go. I was working all day and teaching at night, and it was an adjustment. I remember having to go out of town for some training for work, and I had more food with me than clothing. So if that tells you anything, I couldn't eat out. I couldn't have processed food. I couldn't have sugar besides fruit, low glycemic fruit. I couldn't have dairy. It was brutal. It was brutal. But the good part about that is that every morning when I got up and looked in the mirror, I saw a change in my body, in my complexion. I mean, it was just amazing. Now, I'm still gluten-free. I was on that program for about 7 to 8 months. I had to back off of the supplements and eventually got off them altogether. My thyroid responded immediately, so that was the good thing. And it's just amazing. I just wanted to share this. I had been asked to share it, and just wanted to give some encouragement to any of you who may be dealing with ulcerative colitis or other digestive issues, an actual ulcer, acid reflux, or women are prone to thyroid issues. I know there's a lot of options out there today, but there are also a lot of holistic options. There are a lot of complementary things you can do to help the process of healing from these conditions. Along the way, I began to learn about the emotional components to physical illness, and about how when we don't process those emotions, it's going to show up somewhere in our body. So, like I mentioned, the ulcerative colitis was about control or lack of control. And the ulcer and acid reflux, that was, something I couldn't stomach. The thyroid issue was about not speaking my truth, not speaking up. So I've done additional training, and that's where the coaching and NLP comes in. And I just more recently did a third coaching program to layer that into the techniques that I already use. And so really helping people identify and then safely process emotions related to whatever condition they may be dealing with. So just want to put that out there to give you a little breadcrumb, do some research, and if you need some help with that, reach out, book a session. I do remote sessions. We have all this technology. I can certainly help you that way. But I do mainly want to just encourage you that these are not lifelong conditions. They don't have to be. And that you have a great capacity to help yourself if you choose to do so.